My name is Kayla DeHaan Hill. Have a question to start you all off. Who here wants to be fat, sick, and depressed? I know. If you raise your hand, that's a whole different issue, different conversation. So is it common or uncommon at some point in your life to be fat and or sick and or depressed? It's pretty common, right? I've personally been there. I know what it feels like. If it's okay with you all, I'm going to start with my story. I like to share why I do what I do and why it's important to me. Is it a safe place? Is this a place where I can be open, vulnerable, and share from the heart? Thank you, I appreciate that. So when I was about close to 30 years old, and I'm almost 45 now, don't worry, I do that all the time. I was in a really, really dark place. I dealt with depression and anxiety on and off my whole life, but I had gained 40 pounds in 1 month. I had lost half my hair, literally is coming out in chunks. I literally had no hair. And my depression and anxiety just went downhill. And I went doctor to doctor, and it was like, someone please help me. And as a healthcare professional, I'm like, I'm gonna find people to help me. I like to help people. And unfortunately, just one after another says, I don't know. Is that light bothering you? Okay. It says, I don't know how to help you. Your labs look normal. Does anyone know what that feels like? So, and they just kept, here, go to this doctor, go to this doctor. I felt completely helpless. I felt like I had no control over my own body, my own health. And then my blood pressure started going up higher and higher and higher to where I lost my left side of my vision, and I was trying to see patients and running into walls, and I mean that. And then the worst thing that happened, I started breaking bones. I'm talking bone after bone after bone, and I don't have a fun story to go with it. I wasn't bungee jumping or anything. I would sit on a couch and I'd break my neck. I would sit on a chair and I'd break my scapula, and that's a very big bone. And it just kept happening, and I literally lost count after 15 bones. And there's definitely more than that. And I remember just the pain and just going to more doctors who no one could figure out what's going on with me. And I felt just so helpless and just hopeless at that time. And I remember just being in so much pain. Has anyone broken a bone before? I heard yes, okay. It's just the worst deep penetrating pain, and it just was over my entire body. And I remember one night I went to my kitchen and I literally dropped to my knees and I asked God to take my life. I could not handle the pain anymore. And I made a decision. I knew at that point I could go down one road and save my life, and I didn't know what that looked like, or I could end it. And I prayed to God, and I never had done that before, to help me. And that it was the best blessing. I did get answers after that. It wasn't the diagnosis that helped me, it's how I took care of my life. But I was at that time diagnosed with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. Most people look like, what is that? It's a connective tissue disease of why I was breaking bone after bone. I would rupture muscles too. I was diagnosed with POTS syndrome. It's a cardiovascular issue. That's why I have my chair here. If I sit down, there's a reason why, because I get really dizzy standing up. So just know I'll be up and down. And also tachycardia issues. I was diagnosed with low thyroid, polycystic ovarian syndrome, a disease, a genetic disease of insulin resistance. That's why I was gaining massive weight, plus having my thyroid function stop working. So yes, it was good to know these things, right? But it was truly how I took care of my life, took care of my health the right way, eating the right way, nutrition, getting my hormones balanced, which they were a mess. But taking care of my health emotionally and physically and mentally too. So I'll go more into that, but I'm very passionate. Functional medicine saved my life, so I am very passionate about it. So tonight though is really all about you guys, but it's truly my passion, my purpose. Who's here for belly fat? Most people answer. I like this one. Fatigue. Hormone issues. Got it. Who was dragged here? The men usually are looking away about right now.
You weren't dragged?
Tom, I know you're dragged here. Andre, were you dragged here?
No.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Willing subject.
Got it. Gastrointestinal issues. Okay? Depression and anxiety. Thank you for your honesty. I really appreciate that. So anyone is here just because they want to optimize their health? Okay, wonderful. So just know, any reason you're here, you're completely welcome. We've got people here that are completely healthy and just want to optimize their health, so everyone's reason is completely fine. But tonight we're going to focus on you all. So I will ask tonight for you to, be respectful of your neighbor. We never know what people are going through, so just be really respectful. And my promise to you guys tonight, this hour or less that I spend with you, I'll give you as much information as possible on the subject of hormones, belly fat, and fatigue. And my hope for you at the end of this conversation, that you feel empowered and take me up on a complete wellness evaluation appointment where we can change your life and save your life. So, anyone here know that if your health is not completely optimized, it's really difficult to fulfill your purpose in life? Yes, it's hard. Does anyone here feel they're living their life's purpose right now? I rarely get someone answering, raising their hand. So I truly from the heart know that what I'm doing right now is my purpose. And I'll just share, a lot of people in my condition are in wheelchairs, and I just try to take care of my health because I know my purpose and passion is to help as many people as possible, and that's my mission of what I'm doing. So isn't it, we all know we have a purpose in life, but we also know we have to be healthy in order to do it. I'm gonna share Amy because I know she did not know she's gonna be up here this quick. We did have your weight before and after on there, but I did remove it.
Oh, thank you.
I was like, I'm gonna remove that. But we do have one of our practice members here, Amy, and I'll let you share your before and after what you feel like. But she just graduated from her program. I'm very, very proud of you. So if you wouldn't mind just share a few minutes about your experience, I'd really appreciate it.
That's me.
She's so cute.
So I had heard about Kayla, I don't know, maybe like 3 years ago. So let's back up to like 7 years ago. I moved to Texas with my husband and family. It had been like a couple months. We'd been busy moving and such, and I realized, I'm gonna get a little open with you here. I hadn't had a period for a couple months, and I thought, oh no, I'm pregnant, or I'm not. My kids were already at this age where it's wonderful, and I loved it, and I'm like, this cannot be happening. Well, turns out I was in menopause at 43, and so I was super tired, and anyway, I found out through my blood work that I was in menopause. And so then eventually I decided to start doing the hormone pellets because I was gaining weight, I was tired all the time. So anyhow, it worked for a little bit, and then after a while it kind of plateaued, and the doctor would just give me my pellets and send me on my way, and you should feel better, and your levels look good, and all of that fun stuff. But then I started gaining weight, and I couldn't lose the weight. I did everything, worked out, tried to eat better, but it was just, nothing was working. Kind of got to another bad spot. Wasn't feeling good, tired again. And so I decided, well, I'll come see Kayla, and came to one, just like you, came to one of the seminars, and I thought, I'll just, come and see what my blood work is really like, because what they tell you is, what your levels are, but really the levels should be, how would you describe it? Just,
They need to be optimal. But
yes.
Yours were not that.
Yeah, and mine, yeah, she will. She knows they were not. So, so I started the program, started seeing results, feeling much better. I feel much better now. I've lost, actually, you might want to correct that. It's like 38 pounds
Look,
now.
that 38 pounds, like it,
No.
I'll change it.
So anyhow, yeah, so that's pretty much my story. I'm missing anything or leaving anything out, or?
What are you able to do now that you weren't able to do before?
Gosh,
Outside of being a teacher for lovely middle
yeah,
school
I'm
students.
substitute. I did take on substitute teaching recently, and I feel like I have more energy for that. Which before I would have just sent the kids to school and gone back to bed probably. And now I feel like I have more energy. Like I'm excited to get up in the morning, and I feel like I have more energy to go in the morning. And before it would just be like, oh God, I can't wait till I get to school, and then I can just go back to bed and take how many different naps a day, Yeah. So definitely more energy, the weight loss, and my whole mindset is just better. I'm eating better. I'm, more mindful about what I put in my body, and my kids are seeing it too. I'm setting an example for my kids, which I think is really important because they're seeing me feel better, because I know the kids pick up on stuff, so.
Everyone's nodding yes.
Yes, they do, and especially my kids are teenagers, so they see,
They definitely feel it.
they see
They
when
do.
mom doesn't feel good, and, yeah,
Yeah.
so.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
I appreciate. No, thank you. Thank you. And she volunteered to do this. I didn't even ask, and that was really sweet, and that says a lot. So I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Yay. So tonight, what we're going to cover first is America's healthcare crisis. Who here knows it's a crisis? Anyone? Does anyone feel this right now? We have a crisis in our healthcare right now.
No kidding.
He says yes. Why do you think that is?
Toxic food,
Correct. Yep.
pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
Toxic water, toxic air.
You got it. Yep.
Also, financial, people tend to get cheaper things because it's cheaper.
That's very true. Yes.
Or people eat more calories.
Very true. So what I always try to ask this question with a straight face, but it's too hard. What does your insurance card pay for? I know it's hard to even ask that with a straight face.
Well, procedures, right?
Yes. Insurance card. What does it cover? And you're right. Yes. Medications sometimes, and procedures, the things we hope we don't need. But does it pay for you to be healthy?
No
Does it-
incentive. There's no incentive.
Right. It pretty much take care of symptoms. Like for example, patient would come in with high cholesterol from eating, different food that's toxic. Well, then you get put on a statin. The statin, unfortunately, with time will create type 2 diabetes. There's research on this. And then you're put on, for example, metformin, which then gives you a B12 deficiency. And I can keep going. So it's just one thing after another. Unfortunately, it's just pretty much treating the symptom, not treating the underlying cause. And that's what's so important, and it's always missed. We're gonna definitely go over stress, hormones, and health, and the underlying cause. That's actually the definition of functional medicine, is actually figuring out the root cause versus putting Band-Aids over all the symptoms that people get. We're gonna talk about how to take action to protect your health naturally. So this training is for you if you're feeling overwhelmed and exhausted. Thank you, appreciate it. I love this honest room. You're not feeling as good as you know you should. Thank you. You know you've got to do things differently, but you're not confident how. That's where I was. Thank you. You realize health does not come in a bottle. And you're willing to take ownership of your health. Anyone here know that where they're at now is not where they want to be? Okay, thank you for your honesty. Do you guys feel at this time it's acceptable to continue living this way?
What's our choice?
Well, that's why you're here, right? I know what this feels like on both sides. I am a nurse practitioner, I'm an advanced hormone provider, and I've been in traditional medicine for a long time, and I got yelled at every single day. I actually had the last seminar, I actually had one of my old patients from like 15 years ago. She's like, I remember that. Yes, I got yelled at every single day because I wasn't going fast enough to the doctor. Just, they waited money. He wasn't, bringing in as much, which now I understand that. But like patients were feeling it, and I didn't want to rush them, so it's like a never-ending cycle. And I know what it feels like as a patient being told your labs are normal, but you feel horrible. And even now, just going to, with my medical issues, I have to see certain doctors, and they don't even look at me. They just like talk through me or have the student ask questions, and I don't feel heard, and it's just, I don't like the system at all. But the good thing is we don't have to live in the system. What we don't want to do is get to this point in our life where we're filled with regret and we wish to God we did something different. We all know someone who's been here. This picture always reminds me of a man named Armand, a wonderful, wonderful man. Known him my whole life. He grew up in South Dakota, married, had kids, grandkids, grew his own crops in the backyard. Anytime anyone needed something, he was always there. Unfortunately, he developed prostate cancer. He had to be moved from there to here. And he was moved into a home where they fed him sugar. His wife, the same thing, sugar, and both their health just declined. they found out at that time that he had colon cancer, myasthenia gravis, and just one health condition after another. And it was heartbreaking, and I tried the best I could to educate him on the nutrition, even talk to the doctor, like, this isn't working, but he didn't know any different, didn't know any better. Unfortunately, what the doctor said at one point, I have to give you medication to shut all your hormones off. And I told him that, like, if you do this, you're going to die. And he's like, I didn't know what to do. I'm just going to do it because my oncologist said. Unfortunately, he died a week later. And this story is always hard for me every time I say it because he was my grandfather. And oh, thank you. I miss him every day. I was born on his 50th birthday on Father's Day, so we always had a really close connection. But the way he died was awful. He didn't want to die like that. This was 1 week apart. He at least got to hold my first son. That was so important to me. Even my son, which he never really met him, he's like, I wish I would got to know him. But at the hospital, the nurse kept giving him sugar. He's like, and I asked her about it. Oh, he's gonna die anyway, so just keep giving him sugar. Yeah. And he was suffering. He's like, I'm exhausted. I can't even see straight. And he's like, can I just go home? And they, on the way home, away to where he was living, he died. He didn't get to see his wife and say goodbye. And I share this, even though it's really difficult, because we don't have to live like this and die like this. And everyone dies at some point. We don't have to die like this. And it breaks my heart. So it chokes me up every time, but I feel like it's important to share it. So this picture of this lady with all these prescription pills, common or uncommon? I would say maybe add a couple more. What if this woman was 30? Is it becoming more common? It is. When I was sharing my story, here's your blood pressure medication. Oh, you're depressed. Here's your antidepressant. Oh, you're anxious. Here's your anti-anxiety medication. Oh, geez, like, oh, you're this. I mean, I'm talking, I had a pile of pills. And I'm like, they all had side effects. And like, there's a reason, there's an underlying reason, but no one wanted to address that. They want to keep giving me pills and pills. And it always reminds me, like, imagine your check engine light went off in your car, or went on your car, and then you brought it to the service station. They took it back, they had it for about 5 minutes, and then they just flipped the switch off. And then they bring it to you, and you're excited, the best customer service, this is so fast, I don't have to wait for anything. And then you go down the street, it turns back on or dies or whatever the situation is. That is our society when it comes to medication and health. Quick fix, giving medication for the symptoms, bye. We had a manual. If patients came in for this, you give them this. I mean, that's what we had. And then send them out the way. It's so wrong. There's very, very little education on lifestyle. So anyone here with blood pressure issues? Anyone here not have blood pressure issues? Erica, you said you have blood pressure. So are you on medication for it?
Yes.
Okay, so what happens if you, let's say tomorrow you don't take it?
Start headaches,
Right.
it goes up.
Right.
Easy,
Right, and then you take the medication the next day and it goes back.
normal.
Right, but did it address the underlying cause of what made it high?
No.
Right, it's just treating a symptom, right? So once again, it's so little are we educated about how to make it, get off the medication and how to do that. So America's health crisis, unacceptable costs and unacceptable outcomes, 3.5 trillion spent annually in healthcare, and it's just getting worse. And overall, getting sicker. 90% is on chronic health conditions. But there's sure medications for all these things, but overall, getting sicker, right? Double the amount of other developed nations. 70% of all deaths caused by top 5 chronic diseases. United States ranked 37 out of 40 in health outcomes. Does that surprise anybody?
Who's first?
Sorry?
Who's the first?
What do you think?
Britain? Really?
Look at him.
I work in healthcare.
Oh, I was like, how'd you know that?
Well, then,
Is there a pill for this? You got constipation, IBS, diarrhea, right? I've had patients come in recently, said every time I eat dairy, I get diarrhea, for example. And their doctor gave them a diarrhea medication. but why don't we just get rid of the dairy? But yes, usually insurance pays for a colonoscopy or other, other procedures, all that. But does it pay to get tested for what the issue is? No. Or how to do gut testing and figure things out? No, it doesn't. But it'll sure give you medication, prescription. Tired and sluggish. I know the entire room pretty much, you're tired too, you said that. You're subbing, I get it. This poor woman is taking a nap at the gym. At least she made it. She's not doing much with it, but she's there. But how often are we, drinking Red Bull or coffee the entire day because you're exhausted? And then you're tired but wired at night, and you can't sleep, and then the cycle continues. That is Erica, I get that. So this is no way to live either. Depression, I know a lot of you did raise your hand, I appreciate that. So often practitioners are so quick to give antidepressants, and I'm not against it. Some people absolutely need it. But let's see if there's something else going on. Are there hormone issues, nutritional deficiencies? Can we make it better? Of course, there's trauma. There's things to do for that too. So it is not always the answer. Sometimes it is. Anxiety. Anyone? Yes. My husband, God love him, he's like, what is it? I'm like, ugh. Anyone who's dealt with it, it's exhausting. It's not fun. Anyone not deal with it? Let's just be honest here. Anyone not deal with it ever? Thank you. Never, not once? So we don't like you today. No, I'm just jealous. Yeah, it's exhausting. And also like going through the entire day, and then at nighttime you can't sleep, and then sometimes you feel it worse. But yeah, and people ask me what it feels like, and sometimes like an overwhelming feeling of dread. It's just very exhausting. Let's figure out what the cause is. There could be different reasons for it versus just giving you medication to numb it out. Insomnia. I hate insomnia. You're tired but wired, you can't sleep, your mind's just going, and then you're exhausted the next day, and it's this lovely cycle that happens. But do we all want to be prescribed Ambien forever? Anyone been prescribed Ambien before? Yes. I have been addicted to it twice, and getting off was a beating. Have you ever dealt with that?
I just quit it early. I just couldn't take it.
Yeah. So a lot of times with medications like that, you get addicted and you can't get off, and then you sleep less. It's not a way to be. Mood swings and emotional. Well, here's some pills for that. Well, let's figure out, is there hormone issues or what's going on with that? As a society, are we gaining weight or losing weight? And how many like commercials do you guys hear for, Ozempic and Rybelsus, all the different ones? And I'm not against it. Some people do really well with it. But what happens when you get off? I see this all the time. What happens? You do. And everyone's like, no, it doesn't. Well, I see it every day. So yes, it does. But yeah, is it treating the underlying cause? It does a really good job of slowing, gastric motility, and you're not hungry. But does it address what the issue is? If you have insulin resistance and other things, not always. I love Amy. I love her. She has been with us for a very long time. Skeptical is an understatement. She's like, no. But she was so desperate for change. But she struggled with weight her whole life, was diagnosed with PCOS and low thyroid. She had lost her mom recently to type 2 diabetes and terrified going down that path. Her son, who's now 18, she was so worried. You just were talking about leading by example. He was starting to gain weight, and she was terrified of being that example. But she did start a program. She has done so well. She has actually lost over 50 pounds. The most important thing is, because she was always eating unhealthy, binge eating, and then she's like, I always want to be a nurse, but I always feel like I'm so hypocritical. I'm not taking care of my health. I'm not taking care of my life. I can't do this. Well, she started taking care of herself and putting herself first, which was so hard for her. She made herself a priority finally. She's making better choices with food and nutrition and exercise, mental health, spiritual health. She focused on her why, and she wants others to do the same. I'm really proud to say she's in her 3rd semester. She's about to be done, and she's making straight A's. She feels good about herself, and that's the most important. I love it. So the sit care model, would you guys say it's wrong or lacking information?
I think it's lacking information.
Lacking information? Okay. Anyone else? Maybe a little bit of both? Why do you guys think that is? I'll give you a hint.
Yeah, somewhere.
Politics and economics, advertising. Yeah. So finish this sentence. Milk does the body good. But does it? No. No, it really does not do that. Or snap, crackle. Yes. Did we come up with this? We are advertised to every single day, all day.
It's all food ads.
It is. And medications, prescriptions, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I will not torture you with this conversation. You guys have had enough of that. But the only good thing is how unfortunate crisis creates surprising opportunities for our health. It's about thriving, not just merely surviving. We've all been in fight or flight for several years now. We've got to do something different. And I knew something was going on and incorrect because when this was going on, I'd post things about, the immune system and supplements, not brands, just like what things you need. And I was banned every time. So I'm like, there's something not right going on. We don't have control over everything in our lives, as we already know. We are all as young as we're gonna be at this exact moment. We cannot stop aging, I wish we could, but we can be proactive, consider food medicine to heal the body from the inside out, address any blood sugar imbalances in our body, improve heart health, boost the immune system, minimize inflammation, which is the start of every disease process, calm any autoimmune process down, and balance hormones. We can do that. And the reason we get the results we do is we implement the 5 pillars of health and we do it all together, which is nutrition, hormones, fitness, detox, and mentoring. And we do it together in a process. But before we go through this, how did we get here? And Andre, you did answer part of the question is why we're getting so sick. You said really poor toxic food and water and air.
My grandmother ate chicken that she raised, potatoes that she raised. I mean, they ate healthy food.
Right.
Not processed, so they lived a long life. And the
Right.
more we go, the more we eat food that's processed. So,
Absolutely.
and they put whatever they want in that food.
Yes. And you mentioned chickens. The chickens that are coming out now are huge. I mean, chickens aren't that big.
Yeah.
They are injected with some crazy stuff. So you are correct. So stress on our bodies. There's physical stress, chemical stress, like the ones you were just talking about, and emotional stress. There's some good physical stress, like exercising our bodies, very, very important. But there's also trauma. I've had a lot of trauma in my body from all the breaks and fractures and crazy things, which has been really difficult to deal with. But just like you were saying, the food we're eating is toxic. I mean, it is. The air we breathe, the water we're drinking out of plastics, putting food into plastic foods, the BPA going up. In general, has anyone heard that especially male fertility rates are going down like crazy? It's sad. All those toxins build up in the body. I won't make this too scientific, but they're endocrine disruptors and it lowers their testosterone really, really, really low and their sperm counts go down. I have tested so many male patients and, like a 40-year-old man will have the level of like an 80-year-old man. It's becoming a huge, and I'm being serious, yes. Really with all the symptoms that go along with it, which is really devastating. So that is a huge problem. And also fertility rates for women are going down too. I dealt with infertility, so I know a lot about the subject and it's not fun. It's a very hard process. But also over consuming alcohol, smoking, the things like that. And I'm not against alcohol. In moderation is fine, but a lot of times people drink into excess and it's creating havoc on our bodies. Anyone here know what glyphosate is?
What?
Glyphosate?
Yeah, let's take it.
Do you know what it is?
I know the term.
Yeah.
What is it? Oh, it's the Roundup, right?
Correct.
Okay.
I promise you, if I was to test every single one of you in here, you have a high level in your body.
Yeah.
I've been tested not too long ago. I was like, I'm gonna have hardly any. My paper looked like I was bleeding to death. I'm like severe, high. I'm like, oh.
All wheat contains glyphosate.
Yes, and then of course the things that animals eat usually have it in there too. So it's if we're not eating organic, it can become a huge problem. It accumulates in our body and it pokes hole into our gut and into our brain. Anyone here know why those little cute little individual artificial sweeteners are baby colors?
I don't like those.
Right.
So I don't
You don't even do that. That's good.
Yeah.
But
No, what?
they're not good for you. But yeah, they're baby colors. It's advertising.
Mm.
They look all cute and innocent. It's also poking holes into our gut and into our brains too.
What about stevia?
That one's not as bad.
Okay.
Of all the ones out there, that one is the least offensive. So what color should those packets truly be?
White.
Regular sugar.
Well, that yes, it should be that, or no sugar, but
Like-
yes, black skulls, crossbones, red. I like that.
They did with cigarettes.
Yeah. I'm sure most of you know that emotional health is just as damaging as physical health, or as chemical health, chemical imbalances. Our emotional health makes a big difference. I cannot change the way your significant other, family member behaves, obviously, but we can work on how your body reacts to and how it processes that stress. So there's things we can definitely do. There's different types of hormones. There's fat burning, like growth hormone, insulin, like growth factor, glucagon, thyroid hormones, testosterone, and also fat storing, like insulin, estrogen, and cortisol. And these things are very important to be in balance. So what happens when you have excess insulin? Well, first of all, who here's been told eat small, frequent meals throughout the day? It makes your blood sugar stable, right? It's supposed to be helpful. Do you know all that does is actually keep your insulin levels high throughout the day? Insulin is a storing hormone. It makes you gain weight. Do you guys know where that came from? The food industry. They want you to keep eating.
Then would you eat more?
They do. No, they do. They do. It's a problem. So it's best to space out the meals, and there's different ways to do that. Estrogen needs to be in balance. For women, it needs to be balanced with progesterone. Men need estrogen. They first need to have enough testosterone to make their own estrogen. But a lot of men are struggling with that. Cortisol, I've had people say, well, I want to make sure that that's not there. Well, you have to have cortisol in the right balance, otherwise you have Addison's disease and you're going to be all flared up. So everything in the right balance is very, very important. So a traditional American breakfast with cereal, milk, orange juice, and coffee, which one of those will increase your insulin?
Juice.
Juice? What else?
Cereal.
Cereal? Yep. Which one will increase your estrogen? The milk can, if it's for hormones. And which one will increase your cortisol, your stress hormone?
All of the above.
Look at the stress on your body, yes, but the coffee will definitely increase your cortisol. What we're supposed to do, our stress hormone should be the highest first thing in the morning, and it should taper off throughout the day. But what happens with stress, which a lot of us experience, with time, you'll start off in the morning with low cortisol, and it'll start going up throughout the day, and then you're tired but wired at night, which I know a lot of you guys have said that's something you struggle with. So there's ways to help reverse that, and that's adrenal fatigue, but that can be definitely adjusted and helps. So which one do you have? Stress, adrenal issues, anemia, liver congestion, hormone imbalances, gut infections, vitamin D being low, blood sugar instability, chronic inflammation, infections, insulin resistance, heavy metals, toxicity, food allergies, gluten sensitivity, celiac disease, or a virus. Whew, that's a lot to say.
My doctor says I have none of those.
So if you go to a traditional practitioner, they first will say, what medical condition do they have? This is the diagnosis code, and what's the second thought? When you go to a doctor for something, let's say upper respiratory infection, they diagnose it as that, and then what do you get?
Medicine.
Correct. That's correct. What drugs? Pharmaceutical companies spend billions a year to make you think that way. I should have known, like 20 years ago, I was taught when I was a new nurse practitioner, I was taught to treat and diagnose thyroid issues by the Synthroid company, which is a thyroid company. And it's back then I didn't know any better, but now looking back, I'm like, that is just wrong. And it's not even the right treatment. So it's wrong. This is the most aggravating slide I have, and it's awful. This comes from the Medicare Journal. All the other insurance companies look to Medicare for their policies and procedures. Care that seeks to prevent disease, promote health, and prolong and enhance the quality of life is not considered medically necessary and therefore not payable.
Really?
Yeah. I'll repeat that.
Wow.
Care that seeks to prevent disease, promote health, and prolong and enhance the quality of life is not considered medically necessary and therefore not payable.
Okay.
Yeah, so do you feel your insurance company will take care of you? No, it's awful. Are you guys cold? I can turn it up. You guys look miserable. Oh, sorry for doing that. That was really low. Sorry. The sick care model, prescription drugs. Americans spent $535 billion in 2018, a 50% increase since 2010, and it's just getting worse. I love that Holly has allowed me to use her story because she didn't look bad before. So, but she felt awful and she wasn't taken seriously, so she's allowed me to share her story. But after several years of frustration, she came here. She gained 26 pounds really quickly, and she had a really, really healthy diet, and she exercised really well. Her doctor always said her levels were normal, and she was so tired of hearing that. She was diagnosed with PCOS in her 20s, low thyroid at 30, at 51, she was 1 point away from diabetes. She was like, I don't even know if I should be here, I don't know what's gonna happen. But after trusting the process and doing the work, she's sleeping better, her weight came off, she had the energy to interact with her daughter, which she really, really wanted to do, and her husband. She feels better than she's ever felt, and that woman's got some energy. It's the best investment she's ever made, she's very grateful. So looks don't always tell you how you're feeling, truly.
I have a question, because it's been coming up a lot. What's like the definition of PCOS?
I will talk to you after that, but it's probably, it said genetic hereditary disease of insulin resistance. And that's one of my specialties, so I'm happy to talk to you about that.
Okay.
It's not a short answer,
Okay.
but I'm happy to answer that for you because that's one of my passions, actually.
Okay.
It really is. So as we go through the next set of slides, I really want you to start thinking, are you willing to do something different? Who in your life looks up to you? Who depends on you? If you go downhill, I'm just gonna say it, who's that gonna affect? My greatest fear, honestly, with my condition is being a burden on my children and my husband. And I don't, like I said, with a lot of people, most people in my condition are wheelchairs. I don't want that for them. I don't want them to have to deal with that. So I want you to start thinking about what is your why. And I'm gonna share what my why is. My boys. I love them so much. This is my son, Grayson, he just turned 5, and Braden just turned 8. My oldest is starting to show symptoms of Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and it breaks my heart. I never want him to say, well, I'm just gonna give up because mommy gave up. He told me recently, he's like, the reason I want to try baseball is because I see you trying so hard, and I'm so scared, and I want to be able to be good. And you just I see you keep going even though you struggle. It was just like, you just shared that your kids see what you do, and they do. I always want to set the example. I always want them to know that they are loved and that they can do anything they put their mind to. And I don't want them to be defined by a diagnosis. I don't. And I'll be damned if that happens to me too. It's not happening.
Is that hereditary?
It's hereditary, yeah. It's 50% chance of him having it. So he's showing symptoms, so I know he does have it. But I always want to lead by example. So they're my why. So as we go through these next set of slides, I want you to start thinking about what is your why and whose life could you change if your life got better, because it is about you. I've had people say, well, this is my life, I can do what I want. I'm like, yeah, of course. But who are you affecting if you don't take care of your health? So as parents, I think, did everyone a parent in here? Our kids watch what we do, they don't always listen to what we say, right? So how old are your kids back there?
They're 30, 32, and 49.
Oh gosh. Do they ever listen to you even now?
No.
No. Doesn't get better, does it? So, and I always forget my husband, God love him. Tim is wonderful, so I love him, but I do seem to focus on the kids a little bit more. Love you, Tim. So your why really does help break you through the terror barrier. We all have fears. A lot of people say, well, I'm fearful of starting and trying one more thing that doesn't work. I hear that quite often. Or I'm scared of trying it, then it's not working, and then I'm just gonna quit, and I'm gonna quit on myself. Fear of not being good enough, or feeling, like I don't feel like I'm good enough to even try. That's why your why is so important. We figure out where you want to go and go towards that. Your why will get you through anything. My kids get me through anything. They truly do. And now we're gonna go through the 5 pillars of health. I'm gonna kind of describe it one by one, and then we'll wrap up. So, the detox. Does anyone here know that 80% of your immune system is housed in your gut?
Wow.
Yeah, so if your gut is not healthy, it does affect everything. When my gut was very unhealthy, it made my depression and anxiety 1,000 times worse. I know that for a fact. But the liver and gut are responsible for proper use of hormones. And I had mentioned all those toxins that were around all the time. Even if we eat perfectly right now, those toxins aren't just gonna go away. We have to detox here and there to get rid of those. But it does help clean out the liver, the kidneys, the gut, and the skin. Whatever you think you've heard about detox, eliminate it for your brain. She would not be here if she gave some crazy detox. But yes, it's actually crowding out the bad foods, incorporating the good foods, gentle supplementation to help balance the processes here. But it does work really well with helping with weight loss, feeling better emotionally, mentally, and cleaning out the skin and gut. It's not that. I was gonna mess with you all, but no, it's not that. I promise. You will not be running to the bathroom. Were you running to the bathroom all the time?
No.
So nutrition, everything always starts with nutrition. The purpose of food, that which is eaten to sustain life, provide energy, and promote growth and repair of tissues. As we know, food can either be life-giving or it can take our lives with type 2 diabetes. Did anyone here grow up eating those little small powdered sugar donuts, those big old bags? I ate a bag every single day, every morning. That was my breakfast. I saw my labs, actually, when I was about a couple months ago, my triglycerides as a 12-year-old child was over 300. Doctors couldn't figure out why, and I'm like, oh my gosh. But my point is, I always thought I would crave those donuts. Now if I had one, I'd probably get physically ill. When you change your diet, your palate changes. You start craving things that are healthy versus, craving the things that are not healthy. Who grew up on Diet Coke, Cokes? I did. Thank you. If you drank one now, how would that feel?
Not so great.
Not so great.
And sugar too. Sugar's, if I do have a little bit, I can feel it the next day.
Yeah.
Now that I've eliminated a lot of my sugars,
Yeah.
I can tell a difference.
It
And I
makes-
think that's
yeah.
the thing that affected me the most is the sugars.
Yes. Yes. When you get away from the things that are inflammatory and you reintroduce it, you feel it differently. It's actually a good thing though, because it's it's doing in your body and you feel better without it. But yes, we got to figure out what things are life-giving, which foods are really toxic and inflammatory. Fitness, we figure out what you enjoy doing versus saying you have to go to the gym and do X, Y, and Z. For example, I have a trainer once a week who understands my connective tissue disease. It was really hard to find someone. And then the other days I do things on my own. I did power walking outside before I came here actually. Does anyone here get outside enough during the day? No. We got to work on that. It's very, very good. I might have one person raising their hand. I know, we got to get outside.
Well, it depends. If here is like, no, but if you're in San Diego.
That's different, yes. We're going to all have to do this right now. I break my neck again doing that. Let's not do that. It doesn't have to be some crazy, that's the whole point. It doesn't have to be that. I know. Why are you doing that near a cliff? Yes, it's a very good question. Also, figuring out, do you like doing with people, by yourself? We'll figure out what you enjoy doing. There's different hormone body types based on the issues you're addressing. The estrogen is when it's out of balance with progesterone. You get more of a lower weight gain, lower body weight gain. Adrenals more of a central obesity. Thyroid is more of a universal weight gain everywhere. And the men in the room, does anyone know why the men get the belly?
Beer.
That's it. It's one of the reasons. Yes. Andre, do you know why?
Not really.
That's okay. I appreciate the honesty. So yes, beer is alcohol, absolutely. But also, we talked about that low testosterone that men experience. It lowers the estrogen, which then develops the weight gain, the visceral fat on the abdomen. So yes, it's a problem. Also, medication can create that too. It's why it's so important. You start mentioning this, I was mentioning this, that look, your labs are normal. The reference range on all labs, CPS, Quest, LabCorp, are just the national average for your age category group. It's not optimal at all. Some of those reference ranges are just ridiculous. So we have to go by optimal versus just the national average for sick people. So we can't always refer to that. Mentoring is my favorite. Sorry, I know when it's time to sit, I'm gonna do that. Ugh. Mentoring, so sorry. We help you figure out what the underlying causes versus putting band-aids over the symptoms. Creating a unique plan for you, educating you and empowering you through the process, guiding you through your journey, holding you accountable, encouraging you, and celebrating you every step of the way. These are our mentors. I share that because you always want to be mentored by people that are also mentored as well. I would never ask you to do anything that I don't do myself, truly. So I share that because we are very held accountable. I will add Zyra. I would need to add your picture too. She just joined us last week. But you guys have met me. I know a lot of you have met Randa. She's the office manager. So we are here for you every step of the way. Would you say that's true?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yay.
150%.
I haven't paid her to answer
She
these
did not, I
questions.
swear she did not.
So you always want to have a mentor that is also mentored. I would love to mentor all of you if that's something that you truly want for yourself. So what we offer are customized, all-inclusive programs. So with the nutrition, the fitness, detox, hormone, and mentoring, which one do you feel you could remove and get the same results? It may be a trick question.
None?
What did you say?
None.
It's true. And I'm sure a lot of you have tried 1, 2, or 3. Anyone tried more than 3 at different times? But most of the time they're not all done together. You keep trying different things. We are in a world of information overload, and you can Google anything. Sometimes you're like, where do I go? What do I do? It's daunting. So we help you eliminate that and help you with a process and a program for you. What I want you to do is get off the sinking ship and get you here. And if you want to be in a boat in Fiji, great. We figure out what that is for you. For me, as I discussed, I want to always have the energy to go play with my boys. Every time I mention that, I always want to cry. But it's just that important to me. You know, when they have kids, I want to be able to be there because they're young. I had kids a lot older than most people. I had my second when I was 40. So I always want to have the energy to have that for them. Some people say, I want to just be able to walk up the stairs and not feel like I'm going to pass out. Some people say, like, I want to be intimate and have sex with my spouse on a regular basis. Whatever that looks like. Go traveling, you know, do things with our grandkids, whatever that looks like. We figure out what that is that you want and look towards that. Bless you. Your why is very, very important. And what we really want to do is turn a crisis, if that's where you're at, into an opportunity. I love this Chinese proverb. Tell me and I may remember, show me and I will remember, involve me and I will understand. You will be involved in the process. This is not traditional medicine where you get a pill and say bye-bye. It's not like, you know those commercials where it's like Valtrex and you're kayaking and frolicking in the forest? It's not like that. There's no magic pill or potion. It's not like that. But we're here for you every step of the way. You're not going to be left alone. So wake up and stop procrastinating. What does procrastinating do?
Makes you sick.
It does. It does. And then how do you feel about yourself when you keep procrastinating? You do, yes. And it's my mentor, unfortunately he's passed, but he used to always ask me, if not now, when? If you know you have to do something right now, do not wait. And it always has stuck with me. When I know I'm procrastinating, I hear his voice telling me that. So, because, you know, Kat here has 9 lives. We have 1. And then we don't get another one. This is our life, this is our chance. If you know you need to do something now, do not procrastinate. Life is too short, life is too precious. My clicker does not like me. I will share Sarah's story real quick. She is the last testimonial I have here. She is amazing. She came in literally in my office sobbing. Like, she's like, I feel terrible. I feel suicidal. I don't want to be here. I've got kids, but I don't know what to do with myself. She asked me, you know, can you help me? Tears running down her face, and of course I'm crying too. And I said, absolutely. If you're ready, I'm here for you. We're here for you. she's like, I want to go visit my family out of the country. I don't feel well enough. I don't feel like I can do anything. And I really, really am proud of her. She's done the work and then some. She has gone to visit her parents multiple times. She goes on vacations now with her fiance, daughter. But back then, her weight was out of control, no energy, depressed, zero sex drive, very short fused. She couldn't think straight. Very high-end job. Her brain has to work. So today, she put weight is finally coming off. Her weight, she has lost a lot of weight actually. She has actually lost even more than, she's down even less than 120. My goodness gracious. She has. Her energy is back. Her sex drive is so much better. Her fiance is now on testosterone to keep up with her, which is great. I love that. She can think clearly. She can remember things, very important. Her experience, her program was very easy to follow. Step-by-step coaching, personal touch, never felt hungry. She was worried about that. No guessing. If you follow the program, it works. And she said worth the investment, and she wishes she would have found the program sooner. I'm very proud of her. She has done an amazing job. She's happy, which I love. So this is your chance to do something different and change. The time is now. My clicker doesn't like me today. So what's the catch? You have to do the work. There's no shortcuts, like I just said. The dog's happy. The person in the car, is that a shortcut? Are they getting exercise? No.
Doggies.
The dog is happy, yes. Can you imagine seeing that and going down the street? Like what?
Oh, his bicycle.
Like, right. Yes, there are no shortcuts, like I just said, yeah. So what's next? I'm really excited to talk about the next step. So before I do that, I hope I gave you as much information as I could this hour. But my hope for you is to take me up on this opportunity to change your life for the better. And what that looks like is a complete wellness evaluation. I'll go over what that is. It is a consultation with me for a wellness evaluation where we develop a plan of action for you to go forward with. So what you do is you go home with a lot of paperwork. There's questions that you probably have never been asked before, but you should have been a long time ago. Like for example, if things don't change in your health, what are you afraid might happen? What direction are you seeing yourself go? Where do you want to be in your health? Health goals, bucket lists, things that we're going to look for. And also, of course, things like, your medicines, medications, supplements, family history, medical history, those important things too. So question, when you go to a traditional practitioner, how long are you face to face with them?
15 minutes.
15 minutes, half hour. Half hour is pretty good. Anyone else?
5 minutes.
5 minutes? Yeah. So traditionally, like overall, average is 7 minutes. And how long are you in the waiting room?
Yeah.
I know. I saw my pot specialist, like I said, yeah, I was waiting for 3 hours, saw him for 5 minutes. I wasn't kidding. I was texting Randa, very upset. So how long are you waiting in the waiting room though?
An hour.
Hour? Anyone longer? Probably depends on the doctor, of course. Yeah, so traditional doctors, usually 30 minutes to an hour waiting. That's typical. So question, what are you usually charged? And I'm not asking for copay, but do you know what you're actually charged? Most people don't know. Average is about $300, sometimes $400.
Yep.
So if you think about it, you're waiting for a while, and then you're seeing them for a short period of time, and then you're charged that. But you don't realize it because you pay a copay or whatnot based on insurance. So I think it's kind of crazy. I do spend a full hour with you to go over your complete wellness evaluation. The investment is typically $287, but because you're here tonight, you've been pre-educated, I don't have to go over this information again, your investment is just $87. So why do you guys feel I do charge $87? It doesn't cover my time, but why do you feel it's important?
Nothing is free.
Well, I like to call it skin in the game. It allows us to know that you're going to be there for your appointment. I've already spent this time with you. It's just a little bit of skin in the game. Allows us to keep the appointment for you. So if you want your spouse or significant other or family member to be evaluated at that same time, it is just an additional $47. This is very important. If you feel like your spouse or significant other doesn't want to be evaluated, we will have them come to your evaluation. It's very, very important. Why do you guys feel that's important?
So they can learn.
right? I'm sorry, what'd you say?
No, I said it.
Yes.
Share the food.
Right, because they're making changes together, right?
Live together.
Right, live together. It's the fairest thing for them. This is the only time they have to be there. It's very, very important. This is your life. I've had people say, well, my spouse is busy. Everyone's busy. This is your life. This is, this is very, very important. There's a time commitment, there's a financial investment. So yeah, it's the fairest thing for them. So we will ask them to be there.
Can I just add?
Oh, sure, go ahead,
Sorry,
yeah.
I just want to
Yeah,
add that,
please.
I was happy, because usually my husband doesn't come to appointments with me, they never do. But I was happy that he came because he could see how I had been hurting.
Yeah.
He didn't realize until, I'm getting
That's
emotional.
okay.
Until
That's
I
okay.
sat with Kayla, how bad it had gotten for me. So they don't see it, or you don't tell them, or, you're too busy to talk about it, and, oh, it's her hormones, or it's,
Right.
So, because Kayla asked me all the right questions, and he was, I'd say shocked, right?
He was a little shocked, yes.
Yeah. So anyway.
But in
I
a
just
good
wanted-
way, he needed to know.
In a good way.
Yeah.
No, and he was very supportive,
He was.
and still is.
Yes,
So.
he is, yes.
Anyhow.
No, I appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Yeah.
That was very helpful. Thank
Yeah.
you. Things to remember, please fill out the paperwork completely before your appointment. We will have another wellness evaluation after you, so I'm very respectful of people's time. So please make sure, we don't want to spend that time with you filling out the paperwork. Please, so we're going to schedule you over the next 2 weeks. We do have 2 weeks over my gosh, sorry, my dizziness is kind of getting out of control right now. So we have 2 weeks for appointments, so make sure you get those 2 weeks scheduled. Show up on time, like I said, be respectful of everyone's time. Once again, I will not be a dead horse here. Bring your spouse or significant other. I had people say, well, can I bring my neighbor if I'm not married? Or I'm like, no. So if you're not in a relationship, you don't have to bring anybody. I wanted to mention that. Don't bring random people. That was pretty funny though. But like I said, this is the only time they need to be there. The rest of the time, he only came that one time and that was perfect.
Yeah.
Yes. The only exception, if you're about to kick your significant other or spouse out of the house, no, you don't need to bring them, or they're active military overseas, for really real reasons they can't come. We do have limited appointments. We only take so many practice members a month. We really want to focus on people that want help. So do as best you can to schedule the next 2 weeks. And it's all about you. As a reminder, really focus on what's important to you, who looks up to you, who depends on you. I don't want anyone to get to this point, just filled with regret. I don't want that for anybody. It's your chance to do something different and change. So Randa's gonna come around in a second to have you fill out the paperwork, get you signed up for your complete wellness evaluations. She will take the finances to reserve your spot, but before she does that, I'm gonna go over some frequently asked questions. The first one I usually get is, can we help everyone? What do you guys think?
Wants to be helped.
Yes, that was really, I wish that was the case, yes. But if we can't push, coerce, make, force, someone has to be at a place where they're ready for something different. So, thank you, that was wonderful. I wish that was the case. But if you're, willing to do something different, yes. Second question we get, does insurance cover this? I like your answering the questions, right. Insurance wants to keep you sick, unfortunately, because they make so much more money when you are ill. Pills, procedures, right? So unfortunately not. I wish that was the case, but they don't want you to do well, unfortunately. So the next logical question is it affordable? And what I'll say is yes. I'll say the vast amount of people we have here are retirees, single moms, single dads. You have people on very fixed incomes. So what I say is we usually can get something work within a budget. So if there's a will, there's a way. We can get you taken care of. Please don't ask me tonight or ask Randa or Zyra what the program's gonna look like for you. I don't know. That is why the complete wellness evaluation is there, for us to go through that. So during that complete wellness evaluation, you'll know exactly what the program looks like for you. We'll go over all that. So please don't ask us that because we don't know yet. The last question we get, can we do this remotely? Sure. We do recommend that first appointment, the complete wellness evaluation be done in person. It's a lot easier, a lot better. And then the rest, if you want virtual, by all means, we can absolutely do that. So, I'm gonna leave this screen right here up. I am going to step aside and just